you're going to be able to take that groundwork that you've just leveled up, and it will be applicable to all of the other assets of your life, which is super cool and super valuable. What's going on, everybody? My name is Jackson McCarthy. Welcome back to the channel. Like how we start every video, glory be to God and our Lord Jesus Christ. Today I want to talk about why you should be a doctor. Regardless if it was 5, 10, a million years ago, people and humanity always needed doctors and probably always will. And so today is why you should become one. Reason number 1, job security. Despite the current growth of AI, robotics, and the technology that is rapidly advancing every single day, doctors are always going to be needed. There is no way that you can replace someone that has that human-to-human connection, and it's very improbable that a robot, even with the best coding, is ever going to emulate that. Job security is especially important during turbulent times, and with the economy, you never know what's going to happen because world events always shift the market up, down, left, right, and can put it in a loop. So having job security is super, super important. As long as there's always people, we will always need doctors. It's sad because that means disease will always be around, but it is very improbable that disease is just gonna up and go away. In an odd, depressing way, it's almost comfortable to know that no matter what, doctors are going to be needed because humans are always going to need someone to heal them when they are sick. It's sad that people get sick, but it means that there will always be a need and there will always be a demand for doctors, especially because we have an aging population. That means that doctors are going to be in higher demand, especially as time goes on. There's a large portion of the United States that is 65 and older, and that number continues to grow with every year. Long lifespans doesn't necessarily correlate with good health conditions or good life states. Because of that, there's always going to need to be doctors to monitor medications, have procedures. There will always need to be doctors there to help support an aging population. On to number 2. Going through the process of becoming a doctor, learning becomes your superpower. Starting in pre-med, you're going to have to figure out how to juggle a bunch of hard classes and learn to think in a logical and organized way. This only gets upgraded as you go through medical school, residency, and that whole timeline. You can check the timeline in one of the later videos that will be linked here at the end of the video. Because you're going to be exposed to so many different things and so many different subjects and so many different facts and procedures that you're going to be responsible for as a doctor, learning becomes your superpower because you are learning at a rate that is almost uncomfortable and you're forcing your brain to adapt. This will set you up for other areas of your life. If you want to pivot into entrepreneurship, if you want to pivot into real estate, if you want to pivot into another hobby or art, you're going to be able to take that groundwork that you've just leveled up and it will be applicable to all of the other assets of your life, which is super cool and super valuable. Once you learn how to learn, everything else becomes pretty much baby food. Super easy to digest. Everything else becomes super easy to move forward, and you'll be moving at a faster pace than everybody else because you'll be able to pick things up faster because you understand how to learn. More importantly, you're gonna understand what works best for you and how you learn. Everybody's gonna learn differently, but it's even more imperative that you figure out yourself. It's almost a time of self-discovery in a way because you are going to shred through books, you're going to shred through all this information, and you're going to figure out what ways you are able to compartmentalize it so you can have it at your disposal whenever you want. And a lot of people view the pace of medical school and pre-med or whatever it may be as a negative because things are thrown at you so much, but it's actually a good thing that it comes so fast because that actually speeds up your curve and it speeds up the time that it takes for you to learn. Being put in uncomfortable situations forces us to adapt. There's no way that we get better just staying in the same comfort zone. That's true for any sport, instrument, skill set, whatever it may be. That's especially true when it comes to learning. When we're on that cusp of almost unattainable, it's uncomfortable, but we're forcing ourselves to adapt over time, that's where we see the biggest growth. All of a sudden, we start layering and layering and layering all of these different skills and all of these different groundworks that we are forming as we become more and more uncomfortable. We might start at point 0, but because we get a little bit uncomfortable, but then we get used to it, we get uncomfortable, we get used to it, and it builds and builds and builds. Now learning becomes our superpower because we are used to how those building blocks shape and how they conform to one another. Once we are uncomfortable, we get comfortable being uncomfortable. A lot of comfortables in that sentence, but I think you know what I mean. And last but not least, helping people. The biggest reason to become a doctor is because you want to help people feel better and pretty much save lives. Regardless of your religion, ethic, moral code, it is objectively good to always save somebody regardless of the situation. Now, is that person great? Who knows? Doesn't matter. Putting your effort into somebody, that is always going to be a good thing, and it's a noble thing. Me personally, I'm a Christian, and one of my values that I knew from growing up was I wanted to help people with my career and whatever I was going to go into. And that has shaped a lot of my path thus far into going into pre-med and hopefully going into medical school. My goal is to sustain a family, sustain myself, get a couple nice things every once in a while, but more importantly, it's to save people, help people, and be a positive force in a world where a lot of times it can be dark and a lot of people are untrustworthy. Your doctor is responsible for knowing the most intimate parts of you, and if you can't trust your doctor, who are you going to trust? Your health is your responsibility, but you have to rely on somebody that has gone through the training and has gone through the accredited programs to be responsible for your health, for your well-being. And I want to be somebody that can interact with people in a very intimate way, and not intimate in a weird way, but in an intimate way where they're revealing personal information about themselves. They're letting me in behind the curtain on what's going on and what's wrong with them, and it's my responsibility to help. I want to do good. Chances are, if you're becoming a doctor, you've dedicated your life to helping people well before you even started the process, because knowing what lies ahead of you, especially like that full timeline, there's a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money at stake. To be willing to do all of that and invest so much, you're basically saying the people that I will be treating and helping and saving are more important than any other extraneous variable on this path. That doesn't matter. The effort doesn't matter. Everything else is secondary. But knowing that eventually I could be a pivotal part in someone's life later down the road, I could help save someone's father, someone's mother, someone's child. I think that's incredible. And I think that should be everyone's chief reason for becoming a doctor. And I think that's why you should become a doctor. Doing good and being a pillar of your community, being somebody that is going to be so influential and so many people's lives, you can't beat that. Those are my 3 quick things on why I believe you should become a doctor, why anybody should become a doctor. I can do many more. I can make a part 2 if you guys want. Those are 3 things that I think should not be overlooked. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and like, subscribe, see you.